It's a brave new world we're living in. There's things coming at us that we haven't even thought of yet. And it's this union's responsibility, this union's job, and your job as part of the union to get involved, to stand together, and to make sure we're fighting for us, fighting for our families, and fighting for those of us that are going to make the ultimate sacrifice going forward.
Solidarity to the PFFM is 206 locals pulling the wagon in the same direction.
Our strength, our unity, our willingness to sacrifice really sets us apart from every other union and really makes us one of the most powerful unions in the state and certainly in the country.
We come together as 12,000 strong. We are unbeatable. We've proven that.
It's the voice. It's the voice of the officers and members of the respective fire departments.
1945, when the World War II ended, a bunch of firefighters got together and they decided to form a firefighters union.
When you're talking about a dangerous profession as firefighting and you're dealing with tradition, a lot of times they clash. We've had some old-time traditions that had to be updated, the equipment, the way we fought fires. Water used to put everything out.
Well, the union's given me everything I have in life today. Every dollar I've ever earned because I was union member. Every contract that was awarded. The safety of the men and women in the fire service is directly because of the union fighting for those things. I came on the job in 1969. Since 1969, 43 Boston firefighters have lost their lives. Every single one of those families was impacted by what the union had done and the people before me in the union had done to make sure that they had a secure living after their loved one was gone.
Professional firefighters in Massachusetts, we provide more than just lobbying on Beacon Hill. We provide an effective voice to come back to your locality.
Unions are so important for our safety. We're always talking about contractual issues, raises, retirement, healthcare. But the fact is, the most important job we have is to provide safety for our members, to get them home to their families, to fight firehouses closing, to fight the equipment we need to do our job correctly, to make sure we have the right amount of men showing up and women showing up to a scene to put out a fire, to help at a medical aid.
I think it's important for the PFFM to speak as one voice because it represents the collective strength of 206 locals across the state.
The union's so important on many different levels. Basically everything from collective bargaining to networking with other unions to see where they stand on some issues that they've dealt with.
We're lucky to be in New England. We're lucky to have the people that work behind the unions every day and are tirelessly every day working for things that we take for granted.
It took me 20 years to get on a department. And when I finally, started this job at the 104th Fighter Wing, it wasn't what it was. When I first started working there, the word union was taboo. We could not speak of union. It was a joke that if you were talking in a group with 3 or 4 guys, it was a quote-unquote union meeting. But there was an instance that turned my mind to start the union up, and I was given a disciplinary report that I felt was unfounded, and I had no recourse. I was told that I was either going to sign it and accept it, or there's the door. Instead of, we're a small department of 27 firefighters. Once we joined the union, now we're a statewide, department, and we've got thousands strong.
When I started on the job 20 years ago, I was basically a guy who sat around the firehouse and complained about the direction that we were going in. It wasn't until maybe about 8 to 10 years into my career that I actually figured out I need to have a voice. Through that participation, I actually found out that it's good to have a voice. It's good to use your voice because not one person has all the answers. Collectively, we can speak as one.
In 2003, I was a brand new vice president, and we had a a serious brawl going with the mayor in the city of Lynn over our safety and the numbers on the job. And it came down that we either took a contract and cut it up and did what he said, or we sent guys out the door. And we went out the door. We voted that way and stood strong as a union, as a brotherhood, to hold true to our contract. I was one of those 36 guys, but I was also vice president of Lynn Local 739 when this happened. And I didn't know where to turn or what to do. I called the Professional Firefighters of Mass and said, how do we handle this? What do I do? And they came out. They worked with us. They got our guys employed. They surrounded us, made sure our members had what they needed to survive.
Being a third-generation firefighter, I've seen the difference that the union makes. When my grandfather was first on the job in Boston, they weren't part of the middle class. He was never approved for a mortgage. He never owned his own home. He lived in an apartment. Many of them lived in public housing. The next generation, my father's generation, through negotiations, collective bargaining, and contract, each contract got a little better, and they were able to make their way into the middle class. So, I have a brother and 3 sisters. We were able to go to good schools and have a decent upbringing. And that's what we're trying to do now, is carrying forward in this generation, my generation. Everything that we do and this board do and the PFFM does is based on our members. How is it going to affect our members? It doesn't matter if you're an 8-man local, an 80-man local, or an 800-man local.
The union in PFFM is important because they're the ones that protect the benefits that everyone works so hard to attain. Back when I come on, back in the early 70s, we didn't have the bargaining rights. We didn't have the benefits or the opportunities. It's really important to have a presence on Beacon Hill.
The union's a family. We don't always get along, just like a family. But I know when I go to work at night, I know when I'm called upon to put my life on the line, that if something bad ever happens to me, that my wife and my 2 kids are going to be protected by this very union. That's what it means to me. It's not an insurance policy. It's not a piece of paper. It's a compact, a brotherhood. It's like my personal security blanket. I know that if I get killed, my union's going to stand up and fight for my family to make sure they're protected. That is what the union means to me. The union is our voice. If we're not all fighting together, we're the victims of city budgets every year. Without the proper staffing, without the proper equipment, without the proper training, our job is a lot more dangerous. And we will, and already have, buried people, buried our brothers and sisters, because we're not adequately funded, not adequately equipped, not adequately trained, and not adequately staffed. And that's what the union's job is. We stand together, we sing from one sheet of music, and we fight for each other to make sure we're operating as safely as we possibly can. We are America's first line of defense when someone's attacking this country. It's me and you, it's the firefighters. And just remember one thing, be you, be strong, be firefighters.